What is good, everybody? What is good, yo? Hey, move it, big head. Dang, girl. Anyway, we are back with that Sword Art Weekly, and I can't say that it feels bad. I mean, if people don't like good quality in animation and stuff like that, like if you hate the story, you hate everything about what this stands for and what Kimito is and all that stuff. Okay, but you can't tell me it doesn't look gorgeous while you hate it. Like, oh my lord. Sword art reminds me of a time when I thought animation, what like anime in general was just leap years ahead of simple shows like, freaking Avatar and just like any big show like Adventure Time, all those types of shows. I was like, nah, there's no way anything like that could even. You can't put those two in the same category in the same in designs and stuff. And that's what people were comparing animes to cartoons. So that's when I thought it was like, no way, you can't tell me this looks like something remotely to a cartoon. This is something different. This is some new stuff. But of course, that just comes off as my own opinion on it. So fight me in the comments if you wish. This episode of Sword Art, though, absolute mind games are being played here. Um, Not only are mind games being kind of played, it also feels like there's a huge gap in just what we're led to believe throughout this whole episode, which is super messed up for Kimito. This is probably one of those episodes where while you're watching it, you're just like, nah, none of this adds up. This feels disgusting. And usually when we have characters that are in that situation, they would be like, oh, well, I might as well just go with the flow. Like, they just wouldn't care. They wouldn't think everything's not normal. My boy Kimito is straight up remembering and recalling people that he never met in the world with, like Asuna and, all the people that he's fought and faced in Sword Art. But all of a sudden, he has these vivid pictures of someone else, and Ego. I already forgot how to pronounce his name. The guy that he was hanging out with all day. Um, he saw an image of them, like in the sense of nostalgic of seeing them. So to think that you would get that feeling and to have no regulation of why you know them and stuff like that really feels like whoever attacked Kimito when he was with Azuna should have something to do with this foundation. For the simple fact of why would he forget, or like why would his place in this whole grand scheme, where it went from him having a calling with this kid and them both working on the tree, to all of a sudden it was just him who's always been working on the tree by himself for 6 years. And it was just him and Alice who traveled. It was oh man, like this thing. Just thinking about it out loud makes me kind of freaked out, because when you're really thinking about it, though, you go into this situation where you were a part of all the things that transpired, right? But then for some reason, no one, or you don't exist in this world all of a sudden. Everything you supposedly experienced is not real, in the state of mind of saying um, you were almost like an imaginary friend that kind of helped shape the what was about to come. And what Kimito had shaped was this very misfortunate like situation, um, for this kid, knowing that this girl is being taken away uh, for crossing the dark territory. Somehow, all of that same situation happened just without Kimito. And even the guy who experienced it says that, Kimito feels familiar and in a sense of like he met him before, that they just had something in common. So it's kind of I was gonna say foreboding, but it's mind blowing to know that any time or moment at this point in the show, we're going to either get questions or we're going to get answers. And if we get any more questions to this show right now, it's going to be much more probably like heavy weighing than it is going to be for him to figure out, like why is he forgetting all of these things? And the real question is, why the heck is he here and why is he older? Why the sudden change of age? You know what I mean? This man went from he literally grew like he went through 6 years of aging without actually being there. So whoever the programmer of this virtual world, because Kimito did figure out how to use the system that he was already installed with, through pretty much watching and observing his homie do it. He's like, oh, so let me see if I draw on S if I can do that, and boom, bam, he's part of that system, which is another indication that if he was a kid that just woke up in the middle of a village and lost all of his memories and stuff, how would he have thought that he could do something like that, or he tries it and he didn't know that that was even something that he could do as well. So they're really throwing out a lot of indications in my opinion that it's trying to help the guy who's been living here all this time, and he's the seventh generation, I believe, of people that are working on this mining, or not mining, working on this wood cutting project. So I am actually blown away with how much different direction this show took instantly after the whole end of episode one, which makes sense why it was such a freaking long episode. There was so much to tell within like 48 something minutes, including the actual details of, what Kimito was up to while he was away on business. Then to see him get attacked, and then next thing you know, we're in the game, so that none of this would have made sense. I'm so glad that Sword Art, knowing how the audiences and how people can be about, getting as much content and as much story like plot given, unlike some shows that people are really mad at, like Tokyo Ghoul, they want all of that detail, and I feel like a 48-minute movie almost was, a pretty good telling of, hey, we know you want it all, but this is as much as we can give you. And then as soon as we're done, we're going back to our regular schedule. So big ups to that aspect alone for Sword Art going that extra mile just to give us that. I think Tokyo Ghouls being a show that knows the audience is kind of mad with what they have. I think they easily did that pre-airing for their own benefit of, just putting the show out there to see what the noise was probably about it a little easier. So really interested to see how you guys are feeling about Sword Art being back, not only just being back, but seemingly looking better than a lot of animes still that have been dropping. And I can't really put a finger on every anime that it looks better than because I would have to go back and rewatch them. But a lot of them from a year ago and 2 years ago are not touching this anime in the sense of the old school Sword Art, and then you put this, if you even compare those two, they're not that far off. Like, that's how good Sword Art was. There was not that much polishing that was needed, kind of like with Kimito swinging his sword. That was a new polish of that actual light particles and stuff. And the reason why it looks like it's so polished and different is because he's in a different virtual world outside of the game that he was actually a part of, even though now he is using his mind and body as if they are the avatar form. it's getting hype, guys. And if you aren't watching, at least let me keep you up to date on what is going down in Sword Art with these videos. So subscribe, drop a notification on that bell because I'll be dropping as much content as possible. And if you don't want to miss it, that would be the easiest way to get notified. So with that, everybody, I will talk to you in the next one. I got some work to do for this next video, so I gotta, yeah, yeah. All right, everybody, take care, and I will talk to you in the next one. All right, peace.